Hey everyone, welcome to GardenFork. Today I want to talk about seed starting for ornamentals. In other words, plants that have flowers on it that we usually mainly use for, rather than eating, they're for looking at.
Looking at.
Or to be for our pollinators, like honeybees and that kind of thing.
Good bugs.
These are pansies, which actually parts of a pansy plant are edible as well. So.
Have you ever eaten them?
Yeah. And nasturtiums too. The nasturtium flowers are really good.
Okay.
By the way, we have a whole foraging and edible wild food series videos. If you want to check those out as well. But I want to talk about this. A lot of people, it's early spring here. It was really warm and then it snowed last night. Ice storm snow. And people want to go out in the garden and they want to start planting things. First of all, I think that if you want to start things from seed, you're much better off starting them indoors in seed starting trays of some sort, rather than direct sowing them. And I have some strong opinions about how you should be seed starting in your house, so I thought I'd make a video about it.
He actually has strong opinions about pretty much everything.
Yeah, we have a number of seed starting videos. There are links at the end of the show and in the show notes about our other videos. But I want to talk specifically about ornamentals. These are some pansies that I bought at the big home improvement store, and do you see how compact they are? They're really bushy, they're well grown. These are grown in full sunlight in a greenhouse. And what I find a lot of times when people want to start seeds in their own home is they put the seeds in a window. And what happens there is you get this. These I started in a window to show people what would happen. And if this is the window, they're leaning toward the window and they're very weak. So
who's gonna buy that?
Compare this to this. Okay.
But they're different plants too.
Yeah, I was hoping you wouldn't point that out.
But they are.
We have a kind of a DIY grow light we use. It's cheap fluorescent shop lights. Of course, we have a video about it in the links below. But that kind of thing works really well for growing plants. And you want the grow lights to be touching the leaves. It's okay for the fluorescent lights to touch the leaves.
They don't catch on fire?
They don't catch on fire. The bulbs don't get hot. You can use whatever fluorescent bulbs you have because this is for a short amount of time. They're using them for seed starting. There's a lot of talk about what kind of bulbs to buy. Cool white, warm white, just buy some bulbs, okay? All right, so let's talk about different ways, different containers for seed starting. You can go to the store and buy different kits, which I like because of their kind of compactness and ease of use. They're usually have some sort of water reservoir. This one has a water reservoir on the bottom of it. This one doesn't, but you just put some water in the bottom and it works as well. And this is nice because it's real clean, boom, done. You know, you don't have to put it in a tray of its own because it comes in a tray. Drawbacks are it's all made of plastic, and it depends on your, how you want to live with plastic in your life. The flip side of that is that you can make paper seed starting pots.
Ooh.
I don't know if you've seen our origami paper pot video, but this was a lot of fun to make. My buddy Matt in the garden inspired me to do this.
What's that a map of on there?
Oh, that's the weather map from the New York Times.
It says snow, by the way. So
yeah, so you could go with this route as well. The thing with this is that you have to put them in a tray. You have this is some sort of plastic or metal tray. Maybe it's some egg carton tops you had laying around, but something to keep the water from spilling all over the place because you're going to water them. But again, you can see here, this is parsley I've started, but I did this in the window on purpose, and you can see how here's the window and everything's leaning toward the window. Instead of having a grow light right on top, these would be growing straight up and nice and bushy like these guys are.
So when you actually transfer those guys, the ones that were growing in the window, the lopsided ones, and you put them in their actual garden, do they straighten out?
They will straighten up, but they get real leggy. They get real kind of long and lanky, and I think the stems get weak if a wind comes by. They'll break easily. They won't look like the plant you think you're getting. It's going to be a real tall, skinny version of the plant. All right, very important. If you are going with the paper pot route, we have a number of paper pot videos. You want to use seed starting mix and not regular potting soil. It says seed starting at the top. Make sure whatever you buy, it says seed starting. You can also use coir, which is coconut fiber, with some perlite and a little bit of fertilizer or vermiculite. Really, I think that works really well. Other people use like bark-based seed starting products. So Botanic Garden, Brooklyn Botanic Garden, we did a video tour of them talking about seed starting, and they use that, so it was kind of cool.
What about compost?
You don't want to use compost because compost has little bugs in it, and if you bring that inside, some of those gnats and little bugs, the eggs are going to hatch, and they're going to be flying around your house.
You're going to be unhappy.
Learn from me.
He's been unhappy.
Well, I was fine with it, just someone else in the house didn't like that. Okay, let's talk about actually starting your seeds. These are some beautiful packets.
I picked them out.
Yeah, from the Hudson Valley Seed Library. Really neat organization, by the way, saving a lot of open pollinated varieties, but just beautiful packaging. A lot of seeds benefit from soaking overnight in some water. They have hard shells, like nasturtiums have a real hard coating on them, and you soak the seeds overnight in water, it loosens up that coating. You want to start your seeds in a warm area. If you have a furnace room, that's really perfect, or the warmest room in your house. They don't need sunlight right now because most seeds are under some soil, but the warmer they are, the faster they're going to germinate. Even cool weather crops like kale, lettuces, things like that, they will sprout much faster if you put them in a warm place to start growing.
Basically tells them to start growing, right?
Once they start growing, they love the cool weather. I mean, kale will grow through the winter, as we've seen in our house. You can also start your plants in like peat pots or, one of our favorites, cow pots. Our friends at the Freund Farm make seed starting pots and trays out of cow manure. And they're really neat people, and I really like the cow pots as well. There's a link below here to visit their site to order them. Sometimes you can buy them in your store. I've seen them also in catalogs, but cow pots, pretty neat. This kind of thing, the beauty of it is it goes right into the ground. I mean, you take this plastic off. And then the roots will grow through this peat or cow pot material, and boom, it started. That smells so great.
What is it?
This is rosemary. Now let's talk about watering. You don't want to overwater your seedlings. This has basically a reservoir underneath here. This is a wicking material, and then under here is a little area where water goes.
Oh yeah.
And then the plants will wick up what water they need.
Like a little trough.
Yeah, it's like a little trough. Something like this, if you're going to be using the paper pots, you need to add water occasionally. You don't want your plants drowning in water. I see that so many times where you get what's called damp off. You can get funguses. The plants will start to grow and then they just die right off because they rot. It's just too much water. So
isn't it fungi?
Maybe. If you're going to be using the paper pots, what I do is I water in the top of the plants here, and then I put some water in the bottom in the tray as well, down in there. And then I just check on them later in the day and make sure they're moist but not soaking wet. Okay?
How do you know when to transplant them?
Good point. It's kind of the eye of the beholder, but when they are robust looking like this, ideally you will plant them before they start to flower like this. These guys, the greenhouse guys, are very good at making them start to flower very early. You will notice that here the roots are starting to grow out the bottom of whatever pots you're using.
Yeah.
Also consider when you're growing them inside to occasionally just put your hand over them like this or run a small oscillating fan, because you want to, you want to strengthen the stalks of the plants, because when you're inside there's no wind, and all of a sudden you take them outside and they're like, oh, there's wind, and their neck gets whip-snapped. So you want to strengthen them, you like that? You want to strengthen them just with a little hand glove or a small fan going back and forth a little bit every day. When you do want to transplant, take them outside, put them out for a couple hours a day, put them in the shade or kind of a dappled light, not full sunlight. You want to get them used to the outdoors. You know, it's a little colder. Bring them in at night. A couple of days doing that, and then you can drop them in. All right, so ornamental seed starting, just wanted to talk on that. If you have some questions or comments, please leave them below here. And if you like our videos, you can subscribe. The subscribe button it says subscribe.
They'll figure it out.
Yeah, they're smart. GardenFork people are smart.
They're smart people.
And we have an email newsletter. The link is right below here to click on that and add your name to our email list. We put out emails every week.
He's very inspirational.
I just think we're all capable of doing a lot of stuff. And, you know, turn off that TV and go do cool stuff. That's GardenFork. So thanks for watching. Again, just let me know what you think down below. Go out and do stuff. Let me know how you guys do seed starting. Be curious. Or if you have done some of the paper pots, I'd like to see some pictures of those. Okay? Make it a great day. I'll see you later.